Well, welcome to the Watcher. So I thought I'd put together a tutorial on following C's demo. There is a bit of flashing going on at the Watcher. I don't know, people are reporting performance issues. I'm not having any performance issues per se, but there is some light flashing. But I want to go over some basic items that need to be addressed on for people who don't even know where to begin. And I gotta say, this tutorial is, since it is a demo at this point, there's nothing that, it's not a complete tutorial per se, but it will get you the basic understanding of the game and what can be done and what's available, and how to sail the ship and what's available on the ship. So just basic things. So this is the little hut that when you come to any particular island, there's only 3 islands. I think only 2 of them have huts where you can do trades and go back and forth in the demo to purchase or do tasks. You can also purchase items up here. So I want to do that and show you. If you point your cursor at a particular item, there's dried biscuits and water. So let's grab a bucket of water and take it down. I am using the Xbox controller. You can use the keyboard. I will try to explain everything in keyboard commands. But threw that a little too far. This is one of the ships. You cannot sail this ship at the moment. It's a beautiful ship. You can go on and look around, but that will take away from the tutorial. This is our ship. It is, I guess, a gaff rig ship. It doesn't have like conventional modern day sails. It's got old time sails that all they can do is catch wind. It's not going to produce a lot of lift for that kind of thing, but I would like to just go through what we can do. There is the I key for bringing up the inventory, and we're going to go through some of these items in a minute, but that's the I key for the inventory, and E key is really what you use to do activities like grab things, and so let's just throw them on the ship. Oh. So with the mouse you can throw it by just clicking on it, and I'm using the Xbox controller right now, but I'll just climb aboard and show you the ship itself. This is, I think, the wind staff. Let's take a look at options. The escape key gives you the options, controls, log, glossary. Yeah, the whip staff. That's what that is. So that's the whip staff. That's what steers your ship. And what you want to do is open up that and take that water and put it in, and it's added it to the inventory. Let's jump in and I'll show you what I mean. to turn lights on, I probably should stop using the Xbox controller and just use the E key, the keyboard, because that's what most of you will be doing. And you can use the to switch that on. You have to have oil for your lamps to work, but you can check your provisions, and this gives you all the provisions you have, how much money you have. 420. You start out with 500 after spending $80 on that barrel of water. I now have 420. So that's your provisions. Now, if you have a leak, what you want to do is bring up the I key and this hammer and come over here and start hammering away. And that'll control the leak. These are the items I just purchased, or I didn't purchase them. These are items that I'm supposed to ship to another island. And the way I loaded them on was I have to go, once I've accepted the task back up at the hut, I can go here and grab this, and that gives you the ability, using the different key commands, to load them on the ship from this point forward. They're already loaded, and now I have to deliver them to another island. I have plenty of oil, so I can switch on lanterns. And also here is a book that you can read. So that's just a couple pages. And there's a map. The map, I'm not going to go into the map. You have to play around with it a little. But right now it's on like auto set. So these crosshairs are at the island we're at, which is the Watcher. There's the island that you came from if you made this far. If you're just starting the game, you start at this unknown island over here. And then this Bathurst Isle, which is over here. Now, close things. To work the sails. Now, these sails aren't, a modern sail would go right up the mast and be rigged directly to the mast, but these are on their own separate booms. So they're going to swing around a lot, making this boat a little bit more difficult to get the sails to catch wind, because they get all twisted up on you. But to lower the sails, you grab a hold of this and you begin to lower and then fall. So that's that sail. It's all catching wind, and there are two ropes that you can control. If the wind's blowing a different direction, you can then grab this and move it to a different spot on the boat and tie it there instead, if you want to do that. And there's a forward, and you can move that around and tie that to a different spot. Any cleat that's available you can do. Now I am tied up to the dock, so I want to go ahead and grab that and pull that sail back up again. But that's how you work the sails. There's a winch, E key to undo it, E key grabs, and E key releases. And then your typical commands for moving around: W, A, and D. E key, and we lower the sail and raise it. Now, if you want to just do a partial sail, that's what we call reefing, and that may be necessary if your boat begins to hail and goes over and water spilling over the side. So that's how you work the sails. If water is gathered in, you can hit the E key and pump. And you hear the first pump, I pump water out. The second one, it was dry. Sometimes it takes several if you get a lot of water in the boat. To deploy, you just use the E key to activate, and it'll deploy that rowboat. And with the rowboat, you can jump over the side, and once you're in the boat, you kind of pop around, otherwise you're going to be swimming. But once you're in the boat, you can hit the E key and you start rowing. Now, it seems like everything goes backwards because you're supposed to row. Normally when you row, you're facing like this. But, you know, things seem like they're going backwards. And when you want to turn, you can turn. Now, the thing of it is, if you go up to the ladder on the side of the ship, directly from the boat, that's not working right now. So basically, you want to jump off, go for a swim. I actually jumped right on the boat. I was Superman doing that, but you can, if you go for a swim, let's go for a swim so you see that. Swimming is not well implemented in the game. You have to hit the space bar to keep yourself above water, otherwise you'll sink. And then there we go. And so it takes a lot of effort to swim and keep your head above water and hit the other keys to get back up again. To retrieve the boat, you just come here and hit retrieve and it'll come back in again. So there's the gaff hook and the rope, and it's, you know, it's there to indicate what you're doing more than you actually having to gaff it. You know, it's functional and it's good. I like it. Now, it is possible, of course, to sail a boat right up the dock like this, but it would take the proper amount of wind, the proper amount of sail, the proper direction of wind, and a good sailor would be able to sail up to the dock where everything is just right. Typically, everything won't be just right, and so what in the old days, what ships would do when they would come up to dock was they throw out the rowboat and tie it to ropes, and they would get pulled in by a few rowboats and rowers, and in doing so they can slowly move the ship in. In today's world, in big ships and motorboats and stuff, you know, they still do that. They just use tugboats to do it. So yes, it's possible to sail in along the dockside like this, but you'd have to have perfect conditions, and you have to have a very skilled sailor to do it. But the way we would do it, the way I did it actually, was I used not the rowboat, but you can simulate the rowboat with this kedging anchor. But right now I've tied off with the mooring lines. The mooring lines are red, so I'm going to grab the mooring line that is tied off, and just click it, the E key again, and it brings it back to the boat. And then I can click off. Well, let's keep that one on. I want to jump back on the boat again to show you how you moor. Once you're alongside, you grab the mooring line, E key, and then you the easiest way to get up the boat is go off here, and then you can take the mooring line and put it at any particular place you want to put it. And we're moored again. So, okay, you know about the inventory, you know about the mooring lines. Let that fly in. Let's move the boat out, and I'll show you how we do that. We're not going to sail it from the dock. You know, if all the conditions are right, you could, but you know, sailing from the dock, you'd probably end up plowing into the dock ahead or the hut or something. So let's get back on, and let's use the kedging anchor. Like I said, in the old days, they wouldn't actually kedge unless you're stuck on a sandbar or something. The kedging was a thing that was always done to get off of sandbars or coral reef or whatever. But we can use it here to simulate having a rowboat to row us out. So you probably already did this. Well, if you hadn't played at all, you haven't yet. But if you tried to play in the beginning, you've already done this to get to sail to this island, but most of you probably haven't. But you can pick where you want to kedge out to, and then hit the E key and put the line out there, and it'll start working its way back. Let's jump on down. And you see we're pulling back. Now I'm not doing anything particular, it's pulling back slowly. But if you're kedging and you're stuck, you come over here, grab this, and start pulling back on this winch, and it'll quicken up everything. And just hit the E key and you bring your kedge anchor back up again. There is another anchor for permanent anchoring on the other side of the boat. I don't know, it's not useful yet, or it's not implemented yet. If you want to kedge out more to catch wind, you can go ahead and do that. Want to pull it back towards you to winch in. And now we're out at sea. We're away from the dock, and we're going to look at the telltales. We're going to look at these flags. If you hit the V key, you can get an external view of your ship and see what kind of condition you're in. Hit the V key again, you'll be back down on it. It's very light wind, but we'll go ahead and let the sails down. See if we can get going here. Sails drop. What do they call this thing? The whip staff? Anyway, the whip staff is a staff that controls the tiller below, which will move the rudder on the ship. If I don't grab it, I can walk around and look at things. So in a lot of cases, you'll notice that the sail is getting caught up against the mast. So you may have to go down and grab a hold of those red lines and move them around to the boom on these sails get swung around. See if I can turn the boat and catch more wind. When you release the whip staff, whoops, I didn't release it. When you release it, it'll stay like an autopilot. It'll stay still for you, so you can move around the boat. Let these sails go down and see if we can pick up some speed. So we do have binoculars. We do have a scope. You go in your inventory and you have a scope. You can look around. It's getting foggy. But anyway, you have a scope. You also have, for looking at the stars, shows you what degree. If you can find the North Star, you can figure out what latitude you're at. We also have a chronometer, and that, along with, if you know your latitude, you can use this to show you what time it is locally with the shadow if you set your latitude on that. All that stuff, you know, with just 3 Allens, I'm not bothering with myself, and that's I don't want to do that kind of in-depth tutorial at the moment, but there's how you do that. And then you have your own personal lamp if you need to at night, and you already seen the hammer. So that's the kind of things you have. And once you get going, you can see your boat starting to move through the water. So that's about it. I mean, we're all wrapped up with our sails, but what we need to do now to get more efficiency is to go down there and grab some of those lines and move them around till they untwist and just. So I think what I would do is I grab on the front sail, I grab that back line and move it to the other side of the boat. Let's do that real quick. That back line, no, that's that sail. Yeah, this is this one. And let's see if we move it to this side of the boat. And I don't know if I have to run it around. Run around the front of the mast, then come back here. Tie here. See if that helped. No, I don't think I did anything different. I think, yeah, running around the front and going back didn't do anything different. Anyway, that's what you do to play with it. And there's your basics of the ship. If you start to heel over and water comes over the side, you want to reef the sails. So you want to go down and start partially pulling them up. That's what we call reefing, so they're not catching as much wind. I went over inventory of the lamps. This is my cargo I got from the hut, and also using my cargo manifest and the map. Oh, this is the most important thing. You go there and you can save your game. And you hit accept and it saves the game where you're at. So I have many saves, including this tutorial. Alright, did I forget anything? It's an extremely nice game, performs well for me. I have an NVIDIA 3070, it's a nice card, 32 gigs of RAM. And yeah, I didn't quite get my seals just right, but it's moving along, that's the important thing. Oh, one more thing, that's right. If you want to fish, you can start fishing by hitting E and then using the R and T key. Where is my hook? There's no bait, there's just Oh, E key. E key lets the hook. I said T. I'm sorry. E key lets the hook out. And eventually you'll catch something. There we go. You don't want to break the line, or if you go too quick, you lose the fish. I got a little fish. And to provisions, when you're done fishing, you gotta come for a long time, and then you gotta go back over here and then hit the E key where it says stop fishing. Okay, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. It's a short basic tutorial on everything I can think of on starting you out and playing this demo. So enjoy. Until next time, you guys enjoy the demo, and we'll catch you again.